Well, hello there. Welcome to Love and Life Elevated. I'm Dr. James.
Hi, I'm Dr. Deborah.
And we are so grateful to have you with us today. There's a lot going on right now. We're talking about this topic today, which is joy.
And first of all, there's really a lot going on because we can hear the puppy chewing his bone upstairs. We've got another dog staring at us
through the door. And where's the cat?
I put the cat out. So everybody wanted to be present today, but we're selfish and we're like, no.
We're trying to cultivate.
Yeah, we're creating a vibe here.
So this topic, I think, is so important because Deb and I, probably like many of you, this is a really, really heavy, hard time that's in the world right now. And so we've been thinking a lot about some of the personal practices that we've been doing over the years on the power of joy, intentional play and joy. There's our dog.
Speaking of joy, we should rename her.
Joy. And really want to give you guys a lot of the hopeful information, science, and opportunity to invite us all into reconsidering the power of play in our life and how it is that we can bring these into a daily practice regardless of how you are feeling. And we are going to now let our rescue Shanti in because she's insatiable and she's all about joy. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? And so sweetheart, this is something I think that you and I have been pretty good at over the last 30 years. We've had our windows when chronic adultitis definitely infiltrated and got in the way of some of these things. But we're good about music. We're good about exercise. We are great about getting outdoors every single day. And I think it's really important to kind of bring back to life the intention around exercises of rituals that bring in joy, that bring in lightness, and help us to navigate heavy times.
Yeah, totally. Because I think we mentioned, and it's a boring topic, but we both were under the weather a few weeks ago, and along with the heaviness of the world, it was so tough finding my way back to joy. So some of the things that I was doing, and I think this is what you're referring to with research that was really helpful, is even though my energy just wasn't at its best because I wasn't getting my sleep, I was tired, I was under the weather, there were certain practices that I would do to help improve and increase just even the potential for joy. And number one on that list was yoga, and specifically heart opening yoga poses and anything that can open your heart. So even if you have 5 minutes to take time to stretch in your day, I love things like upward dog. I love just a big deep breath in, or say when you put your hands behind your back and you just stretch. And then all of those upward lunges are so great for just opening your heart. Anything to just present your chest, your heart to the sky and take deep breaths. It's so helpful and it's so simple. And it's something you could do in a matter of minutes. I
love that for so many reasons. I think the biggest one of all is the fact, I think when the world is heavy, do you ever find that your body kind of contracts?
Oh, I get like chronic pain in my shoulder blades.
Constantly. And you're finding yourself kind of contracting, or if you're doing a lot of doom scrolling on your phone, you even contract even more. And research tells us that the more that we're contracting our shoulders and compressing our heart, the more that takes a toll on our stress. It increases cortisol. It actually lowers testosterone. It really, really has a multiplier effect of self-oppression. So that whole idea of just opening yourself up, what I've been doing a lot in my morning exercise, I'm a pretty vigilant exerciser. I go from one thing to the next thing. But I've been seeing myself take a little time in between sets and just kind of doing a little dancing long before you come down, because I have no rhythm and I'm really self-conscious of the fact that I can't keep any rhythm at all. So I've been just kind of doing a little extra movements there, which has been bringing a little joy because exercise has never been an issue for me. Sometimes it's been so militant that it isn't joy for me. And I've been really looking at how it is that I can exercise with more joy, more lightness, and really bring that experience of heart opening to the cardiovascular idea by connecting with a more spiritual lightness and how I do it.
Yeah, I love that. That's always been sort of part of our routine. And just because I hyperfixate on things, when I said shoulder blades, I meant trapezius and neck.
You've been thinking about that the whole time.
No, trapezius. I'm like, I just need to circle back. But the other night, and also post-COVID, James and I were just we weren't super social. We got so content and comfortable with just the two of us hanging out. We have our rituals. We know how to play, have fun, be creative.
I mean, we're best friends, so it's so easy for us just hang out together.
We're super fortunate in that way. But then we notice, like, maybe we're getting a little lonely in terms of how important, and we've talked about this before, community is, and bringing that in. And so the last few weekends, we've invited more social into our lives. And what was particularly fun this past weekend is when we were kind of getting ready, making some food, cleaning up. I think I was serenading you with Broadway tunes.
You were, and I was really excited. Because she knows all of them.
And then I think you went over to the drums and you started drum serenading me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember how this feels in my body and bringing back the joy. And it's helped come out of that slump from, not feeling well and being social and remembering that it's really good to invite that into your life. It's been kind of a game changer for me the last few weeks.
Oh gosh, that is so good. And I really believe all of us can relate to this idea, the post-COVID hangover, and how we all got really comfortable with being on our own. I mean, and it was really hard. I mean, I'm not dismissing the fact that it was hard. We lost a loved one, a deeply, deeply loved one. So there's a lot of that. But also I think after that, we were realizing, gosh, we kind of got so used to the idea of isolating ourselves and got used to the idea of actually having social distance. And it's easy because all of those things we start to kind of, how should we say, ingrain in our being. And then we all of a sudden go, wait a second, is this working for me? And then you and I kind of started inviting that conversation. Like, we knew it wasn't working great for us any longer. And we had to start getting open back up to the idea of having people over and having a celebration of community. And all of a sudden now we're on a roll. We're just and it's really beautiful. So I think maybe going through your own sort of rituals that you've developed over the last number of years, you used a word that I think is so often overlooked. Remembering. And the etymology of remembering is literally a reconnection with what you know to be true. And I think there's something about this idea of being an adult and getting having lots of adulting going on with all that's happening politically, what's happening around the world. There's so much hard stuff going on. We can get really adulting and a lot of adulting orientations in every part of our life. But I want you to know that your cells, and in particular your telomeres and an enzyme called telomerase, really responds well to joy. It responds well to laughter. It responds well to playfulness. And when we get that telomerase enzyme going, it literally helps to lengthen and strengthen our telomeres, which is basically the distance we have to live long and strong. Or if we're not, too much adulting, too much heaviness, not playing enough, we actually shrink it. And that's going to shorten our life. But in the experience of lengthening and strengthening and releasing telomerase, you have so much more opportunity to experience vitality and inspiration in the moment. And something that you and I really, really love. It's called micro moments of heart resonance. And that is those moments where you catch someone. You catch your lover, you catch your bestie, you catch a stranger, because you're predisposed to being open. You're predisposed to connection. And that is a scientifically valid practice of connections of all these micro moments, which also extends our life, our vitality, fights inflammation, just brings us cellular and emotional joy.
I love how you roll in the science so casually and then you just go into these micro moments of mindfulness.
I live for this.
And you're talking about telomerase, which are those end caps on our genes and our chromosomes, and yes, increases longevity. You can actually test for those now, but that's getting, way advanced. And I want to bring it back to something we also talked about last week, and that is making all of this stuff approachable. We started at the beginning and we were talking about bringing in more joy, and we thought of practices, and I mentioned my favorite practice, which is heart opening yoga. And last week we mentioned probably the number one, and that's getting outside, exposure to the elements, fresh air, sunlight if you can. We don't all live in sunny climates per se, but it's still the fresh air. If you can get near some trees, breathe in some fresh air near trees, that's awesome. And if you don't, if you have a sunny window that you can sit by, these are very approachable, simple things that we can do. Journaling is another thing. Just send yourself positive affirmations every morning. Sometimes we have to think it to feel it to be it. Think it into existence. So sometimes I may not be feeling my most joyful, but I can affirm that joy is my birthright. Joy is my possibility. Joy is my privilege, and that I own my joy. And just state it, and then it makes its way into your world.
It does.
Into your cellular biology, and it's just beautiful.
It is. And what's so beautiful about that expression, honey, is that the science of affirmations, and the good part, there's really good science. And this is probably a perfect way to bring this whole experience full circle. Let's all, and if you decide to comment, and maybe if you're feeling vulnerable and open, and gosh, this is a safe place, please write down what you want to be affirming for your life. Put it in the present tense, really own it, state it, make it something that really, really makes you feel a sense of joy and hope. Because when we do this practice, and it's a daily practice, your prefrontal cortex and your limbic system literally get working together. Decision maker, emotional resilience, all the kind of best ways in which we present the world as a possibility, we make a plan. And our limbic system is where the joy and the emotion and the connection to something deep inside of us. You get those two worlds in your brain working together, it becomes an absolute methodology for improving every area of your life. And I think the more that this community finds its footing, if you will, in the world that we're presently living in, and maybe just kind of getting ready for, this is kind of how we're going to be. We got to learn how to really augment our self-care. We got to take deeper steps of making sure our heart stays open and our emotions stay intact. Let's affirm what is that we would love for this community to be doing more together. How do we hold each other in a beautiful accountability so we follow through, and really bring a level of compassion and acceptance so we all feel that where we are on this track of self-love and ever-evolving self, just where we are is beautiful, and the progress that we make can be incremental and lovely no matter where we are all the time.
Excellent. And one more thing I'll add is that we're living in a time when there's a sense of us versus them, whatever your us is, whatever that them is for you. And oftentimes I make assumptions based on someone I may not know very well as them being a them, an other. And also, this may not make sense, but my resting expression looks angry or serious. Like I have a very serious resting expression. So even though I think that I'm like resonating peace and joy and happiness, I think my resting face doesn't do what I think it's doing all the time. So when you catch yourself face to face with a stranger, with the cashier at the store, just remember to give them a little smile. Make eye-to-eye contact. When you see your face, when you pass a mirror, you pass your reflection in the glass, just see what your face is doing and throw on a smile, because the more we practice that, the more we become that, and the more we reflect joy back to others, they reflect joy back to us, and that circulates in the world, and we need that so badly right now.
You are awesome. I love that. I love that statement. Check and see how your face is doing. I mean, that's so good, because when you check and see how your face is doing, it's probably a barometer for how your heart is doing.
100%.
How your face is doing is how your heart is doing.
It's a practice.
It is. And it has nothing to do with faking it to make it.
A little bit. Doesn't it?
Well, maybe, but sometimes that feels like it's...
Well, it's a weird...
It's like imposter.
It's a cliche.
Yeah. Where this idea of practicing to become...
Yes, I love that.
That is maybe a little bit more aspirational. Okay, so please, share an affirmation. We can hold this for you. We can hold this for one another. Sweetheart, that was beautiful. You're amazing. I love you so much. And thanks for helping me coax myself back into the world, because I could literally hang out with you in this house for the next decades and feel like my life is just good. but I want my life to be more good by being more in community and more out in the world, spreading and shining the light that you and I know that we have inside of us. Thank you.
100%. And thank all of you, because I believe that this community is encouraging this of us and encouraging me to be more seen and to want to be part of this communal experience where we all come together and share ideas, we lift one another up, and I appreciate the opportunity to share these messages, for you to listen and give feedback, and just thank you for being part of this community.
And without further ado, let's also bring in Shanti, who's been keeping the presence going while we've been going on here. So have an awesome day. Have an amazing week. We'll see you next week. Much love. All the blessings.
Peace.
Bye for now.